Thank you all for joining. All right, let's get started with Matt's Pilates. Play music if you'd like. Have water breaks anytime. Oh, geez, I forgot about my left arm. Oh, cannot put any pressure on it. Oh, I did it again. I'm gonna keep forgetting. I'm gonna start with our breathing. Inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. Basically, my arm is so sore today, I didn't feel like doing my hair. So, which is why my hair is just in this messy little ponytail. I was like, I'm not gonna braid it, or I'm not gonna brush it into a high ponytail. Nothing. Inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. Finding that nice lengthened spine to the top of the head. Bringing attention and focus to our breathing. Let's go ahead and roll it down. Take a breath in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, draw the abs in, and roll it down one vertebra at a time. Continue to breathe. Inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. As we inhale, we'll be in neutral spine position with a small space under the lower back. On the exhale, draw the abdominals down, taking that lower back in contact with the mats. Inhale, neutral, exhale, imprint. Couple more times here. Remember that the spine inserts into the pelvis. So as we move into neutral and imprint, it's all about that lower back, the lower part of the spine. And since it inserts into the pelvis, as we go into imprint, the pelvis will tilt backwards. Let's maintain the imprint and bring the legs up to tabletop position. Knees bent at 90 degrees. Exhale to lower one leg. Inhale, lift. If you want to press into the floor with your hands, you may. Or if you want to keep your arm relaxed, you may do that as well. But what should not be relaxed is your abdominals. That imprint is very much controlled by your abdominals drawing down towards the spine into the floor. The knees stay bent at 90 degrees as you exhale. Gently touch the floor. Inhale, return. You should never feel the obligation to bring your legs all the way to the floor, even for a single leg lowering. And then for double leg lowering, you definitely don't need to feel that you need to take all 10 toes to the floor. You can stop halfway down and then lift again. Or you can exhale, go all the way down and lift, as long as the imprint is maintained. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Two more. And pressing into the hands if needed. And last one. All the way down, all the way up. Dropping the heels, relaxing those quads, and bringing the feet to the floor, hip distance apart. Inhale, come into neutral. Exhale, imprint that lower back. Press through the feet, squeeze the glutes, and extend through the hip. Reaching those knees nice and long away from the shoulders. Inhale at the top, exhale, slowly rolling down. Inhale, exhale, rolling up. Inhale to really squeeze the butt and find that length in the front side of the body. And then on the exhale, keep the glutes engaged as you lower down 1 inch at a time through the spine until the tailbone hits the floor. Let's do one more time here. Keeping the breath going. Inhale, tailbone hits the ground. Exhale, head, neck, and shoulder blades come up for the ab prep. Inhale, Hold, looking at the knees, and exhale. Release. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale for a hold, and then exhale to release. Just crunching up until the shoulder blades are off the ground. Don't really have to go any higher. And the good thing we're practicing right now is practicing to inhale while our abdominals are contracted. So that hold at the top. Exhaling to lift, inhale, lifting. In just a little bit, we're going to go into hundreds. So we're going to be inhaling for 5 counts, exhaling for 5 counts, while our spine is flexed the entire time. Let's go ahead and move into that. So lift up, you can bring the legs to tabletop and pump here, palms down, legs straight or on the diagonal. Take an inhale for 5 counts. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 10, inhale. And exhale, 20. You can always bend your knees or raise them vertically or put the feet on the floor. Inhale, exhale, 40, inhale, exhale, 50. The goal is to feel challenge in the abs while you're pumping those arms. Inhale, exhale, 70. And we're maintaining the imprint the whole time. Exhale, 80. Inhale, exhale, 90. Your shoulder blades lower a little bit. Get them up for the last 5 counts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hug the knees in, lower the head, neck, and shoulder blades, and come to the front. When you're lying on your stomach, we will be working our spine muscles. So with those forearms on the ground, provide a little bit of assistance as you inhale to lift the head, neck, and upper part of the rib cage. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Tops of the feet staying on the mat for now. Inhale. And exhale. You're going to keep that chin tucked, always keeping the head and neck aligned with your spine. So the curvature of your spine, or the extension of your spine, happens around the mid-thoracic area. Kind of where your rib cage is. Let's take our arms to the back. So reaching toward the toes. You might feel, as you're reaching to the toes, that your shoulder blades will slide a little closer to each other as you lift. So getting a little more range of motion in the chest. And maybe a little more lift in the spine. So listen to your body. And again, keep that chin tucked, head and neck aligned with the spine. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders, and push yourself up. And give yourself a little stretch. So after we do spine extension, we always do the opposite of that, which is spine flexion. So here it is, more curving of the spine. With the arms reaching forward, you can start curved, which we are going to curve, or you can lengthen and then create the curve as you go halfway back. Shoulder blades, not shoulder blades, shoulders are down. Inhale. You can maintain the C curve or lengthen again as you inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to keep the toes glued to the mat. This is our half roll back to feel increased work in the abs as you go about halfway. Let's segue into the roll up. If you prefer doing half rollbacks compared to roll ups, feel free to continue doing this. Add a little bit of rotation and a little bit of endurance. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to hold right here. I'm going to rotate to one side, both my arms, like I'm handing you a round object as a gift. I'm going to bring it back to center and then to the other side. You can make it one smooth motion, back to center and lift. Keep alternating the breath, So we're going to go to the other side first, just so we're not always favoring one side. Sweep it across the midline to the other. Again, alternating the breath. Inhale and exhale here. Inhale to one side. Exhale to move to the other side. If you're already ready to breathe, take another inhale. So it depends on the person, like as you're transitioning, whether you want to breathe once or twice. Make sure you're constantly breathing. Going to the back side first. Then to the front. And then finally to center. I'm going to roll all the way down, slowly, one vertebra at a time. You can do full roll up with your knees bent, with your legs straight. But our legs will eventually straighten when we get all the way up. So what I mean by that is the start position, you can have your knees bent if you need to. I'll just do one with the knee bent version to demonstrate. So reach your arms, biceps by the ears. Inhale, arms to the ceiling, now the chin, shoulders up, shoulder blades up. Exhale, you straighten your legs. There's a little bit of assistance to help with the roll up. But here you want your legs straight. You want your toes flexed. You can really get the stretch in your calves and your hamstring. Inhale, start to roll back. Your quads are still engaged, so your legs are not just lying on the mats, relaxed. They are heavily engaged. Starting the next one, I'm going to keep my legs straight, my feet flexed. Inhale, arms, head to shoulder blades. Exhale, spine. And dive. You should be looking right at your kneecaps. You don't necessarily want to look at your toes. It means you're like lifting your head, possibly hyperextending your neck. So a good place to be looking is your kneecaps. Inhale here. So I'm looking at my toes here, I'm looking at my fingers here, but as I do my final stretch, I'm looking at my knees. If you want a little more challenge on the way down, you can always reach your arms a little higher before you place your vertebra down one at a time. That's just an option. On the way up, yeah, you can also keep your arms high, but usually you'll get stuck. So again, right here, you can keep your arms reaching toward your toes as you roll down, or for a little bit more challenge, reach those arms up. Keep the heels anchored to the ground though. Try not to let the feet pop up. Let's do one more. All right, adjust those pants. We're gonna go into some single leg circles before we go into the ab series. In this particular one, we're going to be lifting the pelvis. So there's a variation of single leg circles. So this is my back leg, and I'm going to, I'm gonna bring my arms out a little bit to the side. But I'm gonna bring it across my body and lift my pelvis, but not my shoulder blade, like I'm doing a spine stretch. And then from there, I'm gonna reach as far forward and then up as I can to make this giant circle, feeling the hamstring stretch. Then I'm gonna go as far to the back, but not to lift my tailbone and not to lift the shoulder blade. All right, so only one side of the pelvis lifts up. It's the side that's associated with the moving leg. So as I circle down, everything's mostly neutral. I'm gonna lift my leg across the body. Again, the butt cheek and pelvis associated with the moving leg is off the mat. So again, spine twist here. Exhale here, feel the work of the obliques and lift the leg up and around. Open up those hips, the back of the room. So this is for you to decide how far you want to take your leg to the other side. All right. Hopefully not too much groin strain, but you do want to feel that stretch. Abdominals are engaged so you don't tip over. And that's it. This is just a variation of single leg circles. It's okay if your leg is slightly bent. All right, so that's our third one. Let's do the next two a little bit quicker, not too much quicker. So inhaling here, exhaling here. So kind of inhaling as the leg is lowering and exhaling through what you consider to be the exertion parts. Finish with your legs next to each other and now circle the other directions. Same leg. Back leg is going to the back. Feel that hip opening. Lift it up. Use your obliques. You're going to feel those hip flexors work. The hamstring is going to feel stretched all the way across. Feel that spine stretch. And then circle down and around. Just keep alternating the breath. So we reverse direction of the circle, but it's still the same leg. And remember, only one side of your pelvis is lifting up, and both shoulder blades are staying anchored. Really squeeze your quadriceps and see if you can keep your legs straight as much as you can. All right, I think this will be the last one. Ugh. This is harder than it looks. So we're back to the floor. I'm going to take my front leg, and I like to start by reaching it across first. So instead of going towards you, I'm going to reach it away, across the body, up. And this is my left leg. I'm calling it my front leg, but it is so much tighter than my right. So this circle is going to be a little smaller for me. I can always hear stuff going on too in my ear. We're doing our best. I'm doing my best to keep my leg straight, but you can definitely see a slight bend in my leg. It's very tough to keep it perfectly straight, but I feel that hamstring stretch. So again, great hip opener, abdominal stabilization, hip flexor, quad work, hamstring stretch. All right, let's reverse direction. Oh man, my hip just popped. Let's go the other way, going out to the side first. Make sure as you sweep it out to the side that the remaining, that both butt cheeks, especially the opposite one, stays on the ground. Use your arms, press into the floor as needed to anchor those shoulder blades. There isn't a moment in this exercise that the shoulder blades come off the ground. Even though we're not directly working our abs, try to keep it drawn in and engaged, stabilizing. Finish with the last one here. Good. Doing hip opening exercises are always greatly needed and beneficial. So now we're going to do our ab series. So you can hug the knees in. You can keep the head down if you like, or keep the head, neck, and shoulders lifted. Extend one leg on the high diagonal or the low diagonal, on any diagonal. Inhale to switch, exhale, reach. Inhale, exhale. And neck and shoulder blades are either off the ground or they're both on the ground. And option to flex the foot. So here I'm dragging the heel out. Really pushing out with my heel. Do a little calf stretch. Inhale to switch, exhale, reach. Take breaks at any time, remember, grab water anytime. I'm going to transition, arms behind the head, supporting the neck as we add a slight rotation. Let's do a few of these without the arms doing anything other than supporting the head. Maybe about 4 more. I'm just going to add a little arm reach. Just a variation, you don't have to do it. So as I turn forward my back knee, my front arm goes over and across the top of it. So over the top of it. And switch. And switch. This gets a little bit more choreography and arms in there. But nothing's changing about the legs. Nothing's changing about the movement. The shoulder blades are still coming off the ground, one a little higher than the other. But this kind of directs the rotation. You don't want to overly rotate where the hand is coming all the way across the outside of the knee. Just over the knee. That's all you need to do in terms of rotation. So set that position. Over rotating takes away from the obliques. All right, last one. Double leg stretch. Again, any diagonal you want to pick. Arms and legs stretch out on the diagonal. Head, neck, and shoulders down, or head, neck, and shoulders up. Pointed toes or flex. If you want to alternate, you can point for one, flex for the next. Point and flex. Last 2. Point and flex. Good. Just the pointing and flexing gets movement in your ankle, but just adds another element of what you need to think about. I know, as if we don't have enough to think about. Let's stretch those hamstrings with our scissors. Exhale here, inhale to switch, exhale. Same thing, point the toes for 2, flex the toes for 2. Point and flex. Definitely is a little tougher for the flex, harder to get the calf stretching and have the same range of motion. 2 more pairs, point, point, and flex. Flex. All right. Hug those knees in. Your abs should be pretty fatigued, so let's give it a break by coming onto our stomach. We're going to do sort of a breaststroke variation. Usually for breaststroke, I bring the hands up close to the body, reach it forward, and then I circle around. This time we're going to circle around in both directions. So we're going to go around and up, and then basically the same semicircle back down. Okay, we can start with a lift. So inhale here, arms are reaching for the toes back. And then as I exhale and dive with my arms forward and I lower the chest, I'm going to end up at a very low hover. Now, if you want to rest completely, put your hands down. But otherwise, we're going to try to keep it just a very low hover, you know, 1/2 inch off the floor, 1/4 inch off the floor, and then inhale, take it back up. Arms are higher, chest is up. Exhale, chest is low, arms are low. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So like I said, my arms and hands are getting really close to the floor. I'm not actually resting on the floor here. A little more spine endurance because it's not a full relaxation. But it's less because the chest is not staying up. Our chest is up here, spinal flexion, right? And then here, our spine is coming more to neutral. And then we're also getting a good range of motion in the shoulder. All right, we always want this range of motion in our shoulders. And one other thing we're working is on our rear deltoids, right? So the back of your shoulder blade area, you should feel it because we're horizontal on the ground, but we're lifting up against gravity. All right, last one here. Go ahead and place your hands on the ground underneath your shoulders and push yourself up. I wasn't gonna do planks today because my left arm is sore from the shot from the vaccination, but I can't deny you guys of the pleasure of doing planks. So why should I not do planks because of my arm? Let's do planks for you. Let's see how it is. Oh man. I think I can't do it on the wrist though. Okay, let's do it on the elbows. So the elbows are directly underneath the shoulders, and feel free to do planks on your wrist. Planks are important for the transverse abdominis. So we want the hips around shoulder heights. We're looking for a straight line from the ears, through the shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles. All right, feel free to hold this as is. You know, planks are difficult even if we don't start moving. What I'm going to have you do is do what's called a hip dip. So if your feet aren't already at a hip distance apart, get them a little wider, and then I want you to fall to the sides of the feet. So the outer edge of one and the inner arch of the other. Good. I'm still trying to stay as squared as I can, equally in my elbows. Okay, remember your rib cage moves independently of your pelvis. I'm going to drop to the sides of my feet. Good. Back onto the balls of your feet. Drop. To center. Drop. To center. Take your time. You want to keep your abdominals engaged the whole time. And you always want to come back to center, which is when your butt is about the same height as your shoulders. A strong plank. One more time to each side. All right, good. Oof. Ugh. Come out of that. Oh, jeez. Let's lay down. Oh, we're already laying down. More or less. Let's lay on our side. So here we have the edge of our mats. It is straight. Unless you bought a very terrible yoga mat, which wasn't cut right. Okay, so we're in a perfectly straight line, and before we start moving, we're gonna push our top hip downward so we know that the hip is not hyped. This is a hyped hip. Notice that my top leg is now sort of shorter than my bottom leg, and then my bottom legs, now my legs are about equal. Top arm lifts up, just so you know that you're sort of unbalanced, and then you can use it as a kickstand. It's just a good way of testing if you're in the right position before you start side-lying leg lifts. You can inhale, point, lift, exhale, flex, lower. Keeping the foot in neutral, kneecap and toes face forward. This is our basic leg lift movements. And again, I like to start with this to just make sure we're all set up properly. So you're on the side seam of your clothes. You should feel a little unstable. Your neck, no tension at all, resting on your hands. Abdominals braced, stabilizing. Few fingers of the kickstand. Good. And again, we don't want to lift higher than the hip because if we do, we either externally rotate or it causes the hip to hike. So all this movement is within the range of motion of your hip socket. All right. So I just put my hand on my hip so you can see that it's definitely not moving anywhere as I move my leg. All right, little circles. I'm going to point my toe, inhale, very small, exhale, size of a cherry, inhale. Cherry's kind of too small. Maybe the size of a kumquat. No, that's pretty small too. Reverse, and I'm going to reverse the circling with my foot flexed for 6, 5, 4. Remember that hip, keep reaching the heel away from your head. And you'll always find that length. And then there's no way your hip will hike. Good, lower the top leg. Point the toes, lift just the top leg. Now lift the bottom leg, squeeze them together, flex the foot, flex the feet, lower. Points, lift the top, lift the bottom. Hold it up there as you flex. Lower with control and purpose. Points. Just find the differences in these ankle movements. When you're flexed, you're reaching out with the heel. when you're pointed, it's really easy to feel, length. Oh my gosh, I just lifted both legs at the same time, and I confused myself. Sorry. Lift the top leg, lift the bottom leg, flex and lower. That's why there was that silence. I was like, what is happening? Sorry. I swear, that's not a side effect of the vaccination. It was just me. Last one here, staggered. Okay, now we're going to keep the legs together. So inhale, point, lift both of them, exhale, flex, lower both. Inhale, point, lift both, exhale, flex, lower both. Hopefully your legs are the same length throughout this exercise. Hold it up, point, lift, hold, scissor. One forward, one back. Switch. You should feel pretty balanced when you do this. Like one leg shouldn't be going more forward and compared to the other one going back. And a really great test of that is if you take your arm off the ground. You don't need to take it that high. You could also just put it here in case you need to put your hand down. But if you move nice and slowly versus like one leg kicking much more forward, see what just happened? I kicked that leg really forward and really quickly compared to the slow leg moving back. And so I wasn't perfectly symmetrical front to back. So this is just lifting the arm is always one way to sort of test how symmetrical you're moving and if you're slowly moving in control. All right, just a quick few other exercises here. We're going to do some knee dips. So if your knees are pulled forward, but your feet are still in the same line as your, there's a lot of variations of this. You can pull your knees all the way forward like this too. We can try this variation. And if you don't feel like it's working enough, you can bring your knee more forward. So your hips are at 90 degrees, okay? Now here, my knees are at 90 degrees, but my hips are at like 135. This is 90 plus 45. That's probably the nerdiest thing I'll say all evening. So first set up the external rotation, which is called a clamshell. Now, once again, if you had a bird's eye view of me, you'd see my arms, ears, shoulders, hips, and then feet. And then again, my knees are roughly about 90 degrees. You don't really need your kickstand anymore. This is external rotation, when kneecap faces forward and then it faces high. Now keep your knees together and lift your feet. This is internal rotation. Kneecaps face forward, kneecap faces the ground. Keep going with this. You can do internal and external rotation with your legs straight, right? It's not as obvious and you don't feel as much. At least I don't. But you basically can see how my kneecap is turning. So now we're going to do the flip. So your knees are together, toes apart, and then you're going to flip. All the way external, all the way internal. So believe it or not, when your knees are together like this isn't really neutral because your knees are not hip distance apart. So the final exercise here is get the knees actually in neutral. So the top leg is hip distance apart now. The top knee is hip distance apart with the bottom knee. So this is the starting point. Your feet are hip distance apart, and then you do the knee together. So this is kind of like a knock knee thing. Whereas the other one is your knees are together, but they were not hip distance apart. So that wasn't really knock knee. It was more like you just like flicked your ankle out kind of thing. Keep breathing. Try to keep your foot in space in the same position. All right, time to switch sides. Before you do that, just come to your back and do a quick stretch. So take that leg that you were just working, put the ankle over the other knee, and just give yourself a little stretch. So I've been doing a lot of abdominals in the past few weeks and less of the sideline stuff. Oh man, that was not the most efficient way to turn around. Okay, here we go. So remember the same setup. Might sound a little repetitive, but we don't want that hip to hike, so pushing the hips down, raising the arm up, feeling a little unstable. Get those hands down. Inhale, point, lift, exhale, flex, lower. Inhale, point, lift, exhale, flex, lower. Even though we're not moving the bottom leg now, it doesn't need to be completely relaxed. There should be a little bit of engagement of those muscles, which helps completely stabilize your body. Why is working our outer thigh muscles and inner thigh muscles so hard? It's because we don't often move laterally. But these muscles are very much a part of our core muscles since they attach to the pelvis. Gosh, I know you probably can't hear it, but my ankle is my left ankle is popping every time I point and flex it. Interesting. Okay, you're going to keep the top leg. Oh, sorry. We're going to keep the top leg pointed and up for little circles. Inhale for 1. Exhale for 2. Small and slow. 3. All the way to 6. Reverse with the foot flexed. I'm just, changing up my foot position a lot, but if you want to keep everything flexed or pointed, by all means, go for it. Now the staggered. So we're going to lower both. I'm going to start with it pointed. Lift the top leg, pointed. Lift the bottom leg, pointed. Flex, lower both. Point while on the ground, lift top, lift bottom. While you're still lifting, flex, and then lower. Point. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Alternate the breath. When we're lying on our side, it's not critical on what's going on the exhale, what's going on in the inhale. Your abdominals are always stabilizing. You just want to make sure you're always breathing. Even though lifting the leg up against gravity does feel like it's the exertion, sometimes it makes sense to exhale on the way down because you want to imagine there's exertion. So you're not just dropping the leg kind of with a, release. Last time here. All right, so we're going to keep the legs together. Point, lift, flex, lower. You can inhale, point, lift, exhale, flex, lower, or exhale, lift, inhale, lower. Try to be as exaggerated as you can with that pointing and the flexing. Don't forget about those abs. All right, we're gonna scissor, and I know for the last side, I think I just scissored with my toes pointed the whole time, but you can scissor with your foot flexed. And if you want to see how well you do on the second side in terms of balance, I definitely have to slow down and move. I'm scissoring a lot slower the moment my hand comes off the mat. I will admit that when I have the stability in my hands, I move a little quicker. It's a little less painful. This is more painful. Okay, so we are moving on to bending our knees. My body's in a straight line. I'm going to keep my feet on that same line. Pull my knees forward. clamshell. Feet together, knees apart. If you place your hand, which doesn't need to be in a kickstand anymore, if you place your hand, this is called a greater trochanter. I mean, you can't actually feel it. It's a bone within the hip socket joint. You can feel that movement. You can almost feel how the thigh bone kind of rotates in the hip socket. We're going to keep the knees together and flick that foot out. And you can feel motion happening here. You know I'm not the best at counting. I just go until it feels really tired. I think we're doing about 8 to 12-ish. Okay, we're going to do the extremes. So this is all the way internal, and this is all the way external. You can view your shin bone as it's just tilting and tilting. Tilt one way, tilt the other. All right, and then the final, probably the most painful, we lift our top leg to hip height. No higher than hip height though. It's not, like a lot of people think this is hip height. That's a little too high. Here's hip height. If you are gonna look at any one thing, look at your feet. I don't know if you can see, well, not your feet in real life. You kind of have to like either look at your screen or like a mirror in front of you. You kind of want that foot to not move in space. The reason why you don't want to look at it in real life is because then your head is off your arm and it's out of alignment and you're straining your neck. But like as I look forward, I can see myself on my laptop screen, kind of like a little mirror for me. I can see whether my foot's moving. Usually you can also feel whether your foot's moving, but just in case, it's always good to have sort of a secondary way to hold your actions accountable. Oh, this definitely burns. Let's do 3 more. And on to the back. Quick stretch. You don't have to pull your legs too far in if you feel the stretch the moment your ankle's on your knee. We're going to try some teaser variations. A recent obsession of mine is the scissor teaser. So if you were in my class last week or maybe even my boot camp, I've been doing variations of this because I don't know, I like it. So let's do the basic teaser first. Or sorry, there's no basic teaser. There's so many variations of it. I don't even know what the basic one is anymore. This is one of the ones I teach. So with our legs up in tabletop, reach arms, head, shoulder blades, extend the legs. As you extend the legs and kick it out, it gives you the ability to roll up and come to your balance. So here, and then you can go back down. Go at your own pace. Sorry, you gotta extend the legs before you go back down. Let me do that again. So arms, head, shoulders, exhale, kicks, pull it in, extend the leg, and then roll back down. Now the scissor part comes right here. You come up. If your knees are bent, that's fine. Scissoring is when your legs separate from each other. So there's a scissor. All right, and then if you are doing it with your legs straight, here's the scissor. Do you need to go all the way to the floor? No, it's like an inch off the floor. Extend your legs out again. If they're not already extended, and come back down. And you're finished with your teaser. All right, so I'm gonna do this next one with my legs straight. So as I come up, extend, and maintain the straightness, scissor, scissor. You want to grab your leg? Yeah, you can grab your leg if you want. Take it off, inhale, and exhale, roll down. We'll do one more with the knees bent, and then we'll do 2 more after that. So three more total. But this is my demonstration once again of the knees being bent, roll, kick it out, but bend the knee. You can hold, tap, tap. The reason the foot will hit the floor if your knee's bent is just because there isn't much range of motion if you're really trying not to keep the foot on the floor. Okay? 2 more at your own pace, or you don't have to do it all if you hate it. Or you can do any teaser variation you'd like. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, roll down. Last one here. Inhale, arms, head, shoulders, exhale, legs and spine. Inhale, I'm going to lower a leg, exhale, I'm going to lift it. Inhale, I'm going to lower the other leg, exhale, I'm going to lift it. Inhale, I'm going to hold or lift my arms. Exhale. We did it. That's enough teasers. Those are hard. Let's finish with a little bit of alignment of our spine. So those teasers are all about spine flexion. So we're just going to take it back to here. All right. We're going to lift the legs with the upper body. So if you want to keep your arms in a bent W shape, this is what it looks like. If you want to do a more Y shape, like so, much more challenging because the arms are extended. And then there's the T, so arms to the side, lift. So again, recap, W, Y, or T. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is I keep alternating between all 3. So I come down, position my arms, W. When I lift my legs are straight, my feet are apart, my thighs come off the ground. I reposition my arms for the Y. I reposition my arms for the T. All right, that was 9. So I think that's enough. Sit back, stretch. All right, definitely not doing push-ups today. I'm sorry if you really, really wanted it. It's just not in the cards for today. But the wrists are going to be underneath the hips. The shoulders, and the knees are underneath the hips. So just for a little bit of spine work here, rounding the spine, arch in the back. Good. Trying to keep the head and neck aligned with the spine. So a natural rainbow and a smile. And then come to neutral. And I want you to do a lateral bend. So I'm pinching the front part of my obliques. The obliques that are facing you. I'm going to look over my front shoulder. I'm really going to try to look for my hip. I do realize this is taking your neck sort of out of alignment, but it's just to create that lateral curve in your spine. Sometimes it's hard to create if you just keep your eye gaze kind of right on the floor. What kind of drives the motion is like I'm looking for my tailbone, my butt, over my shoulder. And one of the reasons this helps is because sometimes as you're doing the lateral, your whole butt shifts like that, and I still can't see my butt. But if I can see my butt, it means I didn't move it. It means I kept it in place. Create the curve here, pinch here, stretch on the other side. Now the opposite. Stretch here, pinch on the other side. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you want to do any additional hamstring stretch, you can. We did a lot of things in flexion, foot flexion today, so hopefully you feel like you got a pretty good stretch in the calves and the hamstrings throughout class. Geez, my hair. Any questions? Let me know. Thank you.